This conference will now be recorded.
Hey there, it's Trisha with Easy E-mini Trade, and I know we've been talking a lot about the cumulative delta since Gord S turned me on to it, and really liking it a lot better than the regular delta or the footprint chart. And so I'm going to show you some ways that you could have used it today. I'm just going to show you on a 1-minute chart, but I am going to do a webinar next Wednesday on the 12th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, where we'll combine cumulative delta and the market profile. And I'll talk more about it. You know, even if you're not using the market profile, you can still use the cumulative delta on any type of chart or any setup that you're using. And basically, it's just like when you're using any kind of delta or the footprint chart or order flow of any kind, you're basically watching for the orders, how they're coming in at reference areas, such as your entry area or support and resistance. So in using the market profile, we'll be watching the high volume areas, and we'll be watching fair value area high and low and the VWAP. So I'll go over more of that, like I said, on Wednesday during the webinar, but let me just show you how you can incorporate it on just a regular 1-minute chart using the 1-minute setup that we typically use.
This conference will now be recorded.
So this is a 1-minute chart of NQ today, the 5th of June, and there are some indicators on here that you're not going to use, but basically I'm just showing you this chart. I'm testing a moving average. We are using a 30 EMA for our 1-minute setup, and I'm testing a 20 volume weighted moving average. That's why you see these two black on there. So just ignore those. And then the blue dots that you see above and these maroon ones below are the super trend stop. And so if you're familiar with the 1-minute setup, they're the settings that I always use. And so in looking at this chart, the blue area is the market profile, and this would be fair value area high. This would be fair value area low down here. And then this is the first deviation away from fair value and fair value area high, and this is the first deviation away from fair value area low. I can get rid of these. I had these marked for a breakout, so let's just get rid of those. These are just lines that I drew. And so what we're looking for is, what's the cumulative delta telling us as we're hitting resistance, for example? And you're going to find this is the cumulative delta down here. This is Ninja 8, by the way. If you're using Sierra, it's a standard indicator. If you're using Ninja 8 and you have a lifetime license, it's a standard indicator. I found one for 7 that is free, but it does not plot bars like this. It'll plot a regular line. So, if you need it, I'm happy to share it with you, but it won't look exactly the same. So here is a buy here as we're breaking the super trend stop. Now, I'm not interested in this because it's right into news at 10 o'clock, but let's say that I was interested. You could see this little area right here where we've established some resistance on our cumulative delta. So I'm just going to draw a line there. And so what I would want to see, or ideally what I would want to see, is as I'm placing my order a tick or two above the super trend stop here, I want to see the cumulative delta being pushed through this area of resistance. And so you're going to use it the same way that you would watch for price going to hit an area of support or resistance, and then you can make use of it. So if you were going to buy this here, we have the VWAP right above us, this line that is a dashed line that turns blue and red right here. And so that realistically would be your resistance area. Now, I'm not saying that, this would be a setup that you would take. You'd have to decide if there's enough room. As with any setup that you trade, you have to decide if there's enough room to support or resistance in order for you to be profitable and if you wanted to take it. So here you can see this is established an area of support down here. So I'm going to just draw a line there. And so here you can see that we're breaking the super trend stop here. I have support below in the way of yesterday's high and close. That's what that yellow, and you can't see the green, but they're yesterday's high and close. The area here at the edge of our blue shade, that's our fair value area low. And so generally you're going to expect a reaction in that area. Even if it like goes lower to support here, if it bounces, you're going to expect it to find its way back to fair value area low and an area of resistance. In the case of this example, resistance area would be, you know, around 7,200, you know, just because it's a round number area and it's generally an area that we're going to watch. You can see I have the volume profile over here on the right. So anywhere you see big blobs of volume like that, that is generally giving you a heads up for a lot of congestion and a lot of time was spent there. So realistically, when you get there again, you're going to want to pay attention to where price is likely to get stuck. So if I take this short here, you can see right here on my cumulative delta, it's coming down, breaking this area that was resistance, now would be support. So that falls in line with wanting to take this short. Then you can see as the cumulative delta is approaching this area of support here, so is price finding its way to the area of support here. So you would look for a reaction in this area. If it was going to go lower through this spot here, you're going to find that it will be broken by the cumulative delta as well. So you can see you've got all this chop as this is grinding lower, back and forth here, while this cumulative delta is holding support. And that was the low of the day. So a lot of times we do get those types of reactions there. But you know, let's say that you took this setup here and you were still holding on to it as you're short, and you see it approaching support here in the low of the day, and it's holding here. You would have a heads up that price is probably going to struggle to move lower until this cumulative delta can break that area of support. Notice when it retraces back to the area that was support, now resistance. So I'm not saying that you would be interested in this as a buy. It technically doesn't meet our criteria for a buy, but it's a heads up that this is likely to roll over as it's hitting this congested area here as the cumulative delta is holding resistance here. So once again, now we can see this area over here is holding. So I can go ahead and I'm just going to draw a support line here. You're just looking for the swing areas. Where are the swings? So here we get a new short setting up. This would be an aggressive short. We could use that because of our distance here between our two stochastics. And if you're familiar with the 1 minute setup or even the slinky setup, you know that that's a heads up that price is either going to go sideways till that space between the two stochastics fill, or price will have to move lower in order for that green line to find its way to the red. So we could take an aggressive entry here as a short. Now what would be going through our head is, okay, if we take this as a short, we have the low of the day right where that dashed line is there. So we would be looking for a reaction there in the event that it could not get through. So we'd have to decide if there's enough room to even take that. You can see as we're getting a new low of the day here in this area, price is moving lower and the cumulative delta is breaking support. So that falls in line for us to hold on to this, you know, trade for a little while longer because it is able to move lower, cumulative delta moving lower. And then as it retraces, obviously you can trail any way that you like. Stop size is going to be determined by your risk tolerance, you guys. You can use the opposite super trend stop. You can use high volume areas. But for the sake of this video here, we'll just talk about the setups and how they pertain to our cumulative delta. So here we get a buy setting up, breaking super trend stop right here. And you can see as we're taking that, we would be taking that right under an area of support on the cumulative delta. So if this is going to go higher, we're going to need to see the cumulative delta pop through this area of was support, now resistance, right? And then you would be looking at price to react at fair value area low and then up to yesterday's close / high area. So in taking that, you have everything that you need, and then you just look for the reaction here. Now you can see that we didn't quite tag the area of resistance here on our cumulative delta, but I could go ahead now and I'm going to pull that line of resistance down to the area where it last held. So now that's my new resistance and I still have support here. So let's say that I wanted to short off resistance here on my 1 minute chart, or drilling down on a smaller chart and looking at it, this falls in line, right? It's holding resistance on the cumulative delta, so I can go ahead and short that, but I would be paying attention to the cumulative delta, what was going on with price as the cumulative delta is coming down to this area of support. So you can see support holds here, it doesn't get closed below, and price actually holds an area of support here as well on our 1 minute chart. So the cumulative delta is just that. It's a cumulative delta for the day. So it's constantly going to be moving. It doesn't matter necessarily if it's a negative or a positive. We would just want to see the direction it's going. So if I look at this for now, as the market is still open, you can see that number is not moving very fast, so there's not a whole lot of orders coming in. But if it's negative and we're taking a short, we want to see that negative number getting, a larger negative number. If it's negative and we're looking for a long, we're going to want to see that actually increasing, not decreasing. So for example, here we are 29.29. You can see 39, so that's more sellers coming in. Now 21, that's more buyers coming in. So it doesn't necessarily matter what the reading is, just what is the direction that it is going. And so again, we don't have to watch it every single second. Where we would be watching it maybe is, up here at fair value area high, or at the edge of this area here where we have this swing high for a possible reaction where maybe we might want to take a short off there. So as you get new swing lows or swing highs, you can either draw a new horizontal line, or you can adjust the lines that you have. And here you can see buyers, and this is going to be green bar, red bar, based the same way as our price bars are. If it's red, it means that it closed lower than it opened. If it's green, it means that it closed higher than it opened. Also on the cumulative delta, you can watch for divergence, and I'll try to do a couple more videos leading up to the webinar on Wednesday, so you guys can get a feel for it. But if you're interested, just go to my site, easyminitrade.com, and check on the link for the upcoming webinar, and all the information is there. Okay, you guys, I hope you find that helpful. And again, thanks, Gord S., for reminding me about the cumulative delta. I'm really, really liking using it, and have a fabulous day, you guys. Take care.